everyone, and welcome to another episode of Coast Connections. For over 40 years, the Nanaimo Art Gallery has been engaging our community, bringing enjoyment and education and enlightenment to the island region, serving about almost 250,000 people. So tonight we're going to talk about what goes on within the gallery and beyond the walls of the Nanaimo Art Gallery. And to help us do that, we have two special guests. Jesse Birch, welcome to you, the curator for the Nanaimo Art Gallery. How long have you been the curator there?
4 years.
4 years. And Yvonne Vanderkoy, the art education coordinator.
Yes,
welcome to both of you. First of all, you two are two of the luckiest people. You have two of the most fun jobs you could ever have out there, I'm sure. Yeah. So let's get started. Let's just talk about, Jesse, first with you, about some of the exhibitions that you currently have and what's coming up in the future for the gallery.
First of all, I want to say that Nanaimo Art Gallery is on the traditional territory of the Sunemu people, and we have deep respect and we really value their culture and the people of the Sunemu. So I want to say that I'm thankful for that. And second of all, starting our programming, we're in a transition point right now. Nanaimo Art Gallery likes to ask big questions. So in the last year, we've asked this question, what does it mean to live on an island? And we just closed the last exhibition of that year, and we're opening a new year with the question, how can we speak differently? And the first exhibition of that year is called Fulham's Map. And it's an exhibition of experimental photography that takes its name from a Scottish woman named Elizabeth Fulham, who was working in the 1700s, the 18th century. And she actually was the person who figured out that silver salts respond to light, which was basically the chemical property that was necessary to be able to make photography possible. And she's very under-recognized in that history, so I thought I'd name the exhibition after her. So Fulham's Map, she said that maybe you could use these silver salts reacting to light to make maps. So she didn't foresee photography exactly, but she sort of, put the groundwork in place for it.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the exhibition features 6 women artists who are also doing innovative things in relation to photography. One of the local connections is Hannah Maynard, who was a woman who was really ahead of her time as well. She worked in Victoria in around 1880, 1890. She had a photo studio there, and she was one of the first people to do multiple exposure photo montage type photography. So she's done photographs where there'll be 5 of her interacting with each other in a photograph. And this is way before the experimental artwork that was happening in the 20th century, like the Dadaists or the Surrealists. And this was happening right here in Victoria on Vancouver Island. So I'm really excited to share her work with the Nanaimo audience.
How exciting to bring that forward in the day of Photoshop.
Yeah,
exactly. The two total extremes, what a contrast.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
She had to do everything in the camera or in the darkroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Very good.
Yeah.
What else have you got lined up?
Well, in relation to that show, we're also having a talk on April the 7th at 2 p.m. by Jessica Eaton. Jessica is an artist from Montreal who works with analog photography as well. So like Hannah Maynard, she works with film. She works with a large format camera. So we're talking, the negative is 4x5 or 8x10 inches, depending on what she's doing. 1 sheet of film exposed at once. And she makes these optically exhilarating images by manipulating filters and masking techniques and making what you might, like you said, what you might do in Photoshop, but she does it all in front of the camera and in the camera today in ways that create a new language of photography. So she's going to be giving a really interesting talk about her practice and her techniques in our art lab space.
Fantastic.
On April 7th,
Yeah.
and it's open to everybody to come.
Yeah, free.
And it's free.
It's free.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Totally. We like to do a lot of free things for everyone. Totally.
And Yvonne, just tell folks where the gallery is located.
We're at 150 Commercial Street, right downtown. So,
Nanaimo.
right downtown Nanaimo, and hope to be a hub of activity for people in Nanaimo to come to. Art Lab and the gallery are adjacent to each other. So that's where we're located, easily accessed.
Now, talk to us a bit about what you're doing. I mean, art is such a wonderful vehicle for connecting people, for building bridges between people and communities and helping to have more understanding with diverse peoples. So talk to us a little bit about how you're incorporating Indigenous art and Indigenous artists at the gallery as well.
Yeah, we incorporate in our exhibition program artists from all kinds of backgrounds, and we do incorporate a lot of Indigenous artists. Last year we had a solo exhibition by Marian Nicholson. She's a Kwakwaka'wakw artist from Kinkum Inlet, and she actually, as part of her exhibition, made a major public art commission on the back of the gallery through support of the Nanaimo Foundation.
I believe we've got an image of that they're going to show. It's that black and white and red picture.
Yeah, exactly.
How big is that, Jesse?
Oh, it's a billboard size.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's called Inquiry to the Newcomers. It's set in a place on the back of the gallery where the water used to come in before the land was reclaimed there by industry. So it's on Wharf Street, and they filled it in over time what used to be an inlet. And so she's interested in land and questions about who owns land and what are the histories of land and land rights. And this work, Inquiry to the Newcomers, asks a lot of questions about that. And it's, like I said, it's a public piece. And so you guys, anyone out there can come anytime and check it out, and there's some writing about it available as well.
Very good.
Yeah.
As a curator, how far in advance are you lining up your exhibitions, Jesse?
That's a really good question. It's kind of an ongoing organic process, but I do have a sense of what I'm doing for the next 3 years. So we've been asking these annual questions, which really helps to sort of guide the programming. But yeah, right now we probably have it figured out until about 2020. But there are a bit of flexibility here and there. Yeah. But it's really important because it takes almost a year to develop an exhibition. So, yeah.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
And to secure the commissions and the space and the
Exactly. We really like to work a lot with artists to create new artworks and provide opportunities for them to create new artworks, to work with both local artists, nationally working artists, and international artists, and bring them all together. So, yeah, there's a lot of planning involved in that.
I also noticed on your website, for any artists out there, there's a submission sheet that artists can fill out if they're interested in having their works submitted or exhibited at your gallery. So I know the island is full of all kinds of inspired artists in many, many different types of mediums. So just want to let our viewers know that there is an opportunity there if they want to have their art considered.
Yeah, and I also would like to say that they should come and see the gallery. If they haven't seen the gallery yet, have an idea of what we're doing. Look at the space, see how their work might fit into that context, because that will make their application ever more successful, probably. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
We'll jump back to some of the exhibits coming up because there's something really interesting about earthlings and plants and things we want to talk about. But right now, Yvonne, take us into the art lab. If you're a child, a teen, or an adult, you can roll up your hands and get in there. And
yes, it's a great space. It's a workshop space, so lots of hands-on activities for, as you mentioned, children, teens, and adults. So we run all kinds of programming in there, and regularly I run Saturday Studio, which is for children on every Saturday throughout the year. And that's on our website and regularly posted, so people can sign up and register for that quite easily. We have sort of special programming for kids that's coming up. I'm quite excited about our spring break programming, which is coming up very soon.
And you offer that every spring break.
We do. All of our, all of those sort of significant dates, summer camps, spring break camps. We're also offering workshop days for kids during their PD days in the district. And so it's a great opportunity for kids to kind of get their hands dirty, experiment, create, learn, and share with each other. You know, a lot of what I do in those workshops too is a lot of inquiry with the children, and we take them through the exhibition spaces and explore the exhibitions that Jesse has curated and get to know the artists that are in there. And sometimes we might just spend time with one work and then, you know, inspired by that, create something in response to that what's going on in the exhibition space. And so a lot of what's happening in the exhibition informs the programming as well, whether it's kids, teens, or adults. And so we've got a really exciting lineup coming up for teens as well. And I really wanted to flog that because we have a great art teen collective called Code Switching. And they have a pop-up exhibition coming up at the end of May, and it's open to the public. And it will feature all of their work and their ideas and their experimentation and their process in the past school year. They meet twice a month, and anyone interested in that, or parents that might be interested in that for their teens, they should really check us out. And we also have a very intensive summer art immersion program for teens as well that's funded by BC Arts Council called Dazzle Camouflage. And it's also an excellent opportunity for young emerging artists, you know, and inspired writers, culture makers, art administrators, any young person interested in the arts and culture in general. So there's great opportunities for them to work with professional artists, to learn their practices and be influenced by that.
Wow, that's fantastic. So in these days of cutbacks in schools and things, the arts and music departments are usually the first to be cut.
Yeah.
Yvonne, why does art matter to these young people?
Well, it's like you mentioned, it's a form of expression, it's a place of learning, it's an opportunity to connect. It's a way of kind of, I think, you know, staking who you are in the world, and doing that in different ways, in innovative ways. And so I think at the gallery too, and especially in our programming, we really want to promote what's going on out there in the world in contemporary art, and how are artists responding to the world today. And what does that mean to you, and how might you do that in a new and different and unexpected way? So I think it's incredibly important. It's a natural part of a young person's development, and I think so worthy of exploring.
Yeah. Now, what types of things? There's the TD art program, I believe,
Yes.
with the
TD Arts in the
TD
Schools.
Arts in the Schools,
Yeah.
which has reached over about 14,000 young people since its inception.
Yes,
Yeah.
per year.
That's amazing.
Yeah, throughout 3 school districts. And it's a great opportunity for schools to bring professional artists into the school, have their kids learn from that artist, their practice. There's everything from dance and performance to beadwork and painting and 3-dimensional kind of assemblage work. So it's a really exciting lineup, roster of artists that we have available in the TD Artist program for schools for that purpose.
Now, is that unique to the Nanaimo Art Gallery, or is TD doing this across the country, or is that something you partnered with them to start here?
I think we partnered it with them to start. I've been here for 3 years, so I'm not exactly sure how it all began. But I mean, I know across the country there's Artists in the Schools programs, and I think they're funded by different sources. But that's who our main funder is for that program. Yeah.
Let's talk briefly about funding for the gallery and for students or teens who may not be able to afford some of these programs. Is that
well,
an issue?
Exciting news on that front, because Dazzle Camouflage and Code Switching are both free. They're both funded by BC Arts Council and the Edwina Heller Foundation. So we've been fortunate enough to secure that funding. We write grants and submit those proposals to our local and provincial governments, and so they're fully funded. And actually, Dazzle Camouflage even offers an honorarium for the young teens to participate. So they actually get paid as young artists to be in the program and create work, which is important to know.
That is important to know. And as an adult, what can I expect if I walk into the art lab?
Well, you might walk into Grapes of Craft, or you might walk into a drumming circle. We've got a couple of exciting things coming up on that front. Recently, we've been doing these Grapes of Craft evenings, which are really just wonderfully fun social events where people can come, have a glass of wine, bring a friend, get creative with materials, and they're guided by myself and sometimes another artist. And we just spend the evening having fun together, creating some interesting mixed media collage on a surface. We explore the exhibition as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And those are Wednesday evenings, Yvonne?
Thursday
or
evenings,
Thursdays?
and we offer it, currently we only offer it once every couple of months. But again, our website will have that information. Yeah.
And these are men and women, obviously.
Yeah.
And
ages.
also with the kids programs on Saturdays, that's a great way for grandparents to connect
Yes.
with their grandchildren as well. So.
And it's a good opportunity for adults when they bring their children to go check out the exhibition and grab a coffee and wander about and learn a little bit more about the gallery. We really want the gallery to be a place where people feel welcome and come there and know that it's a place for them. For anyone.
Yeah, the doors are open.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the imagination's
And it's
wide
free.
open.
Yeah.
And it's free, yeah.
It
Now,
is,
you can
yeah.
become a member.
Yes, you can.
But it's such a nominal fee.
It's only $20. I think
Yeah.
10 if you're a student
Or senior.
or a senior, 20 for an individual, and 30 for a family for the year.
And
Yeah.
what does that benefit of membership bring?
We get, I think you get discounts at the gallery store. You'll get a mailer delivered to your doorstep, which has all of the great information about our programming and upcoming exhibitions.
Workshop discounts.
Workshop discounts, e-news, a monthly e-newsletter.
And a vote at our AGM.
And you get to vote.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Thanks, Yvonne.
Yeah.
Jesse, let's talk about, you mentioned off air about an exhibition about speaking with plants.
Yeah, so throughout our coming question that I mentioned earlier, how can we speak differently? The second exhibition is working with an artist named Arvo Leo, who is from Roberts Creek originally. Now he lives in the Netherlands, where they're pretty wild about plants. So he's joined the Orchid Society there, and he's been making some experimental artworks thinking about how plants communicate. And so this is something that's really popular these days. People are talking about how trees communicate with each other through the mycology under the ground and things like that. So we're trying to think outside of what we normally think about when we think about communication. So that exhibition will specifically think about how plants speak.
I love that.
It's going to be a fun one, and we're going to have lots of opportunities for people to engage with these ideas, in Art Lab and in the gallery.
What is the accent of a Western red cedar?
Yeah, good. I don't know if it's an accent. Maybe it's a smell.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe it speaks olfactorily.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Something that Prince Charles, I'm sure, would like to attend. I hear
he's coming
speaks
through.
Well, I hear he likes to speaks to plants
I
as
didn't
well.
know that.
So, yeah. And you mentioned something about earthlings.
Yeah, so we have a touring exhibition originating in the Esker Foundation in Calgary. It's touring to 3 locations across Canada, and the Nanaimo Art Gallery is the only place in BC where you can see it, so we're really proud to be able to have it here.
What a score. Good
Yeah,
for you.
yeah. So it's a collaboration between a group of northern artists from Rankin Inlet who work with ceramics, and an artist named Sherry Boyle, who's from Toronto, who also works with ceramics. She was our representative at the Venice Biennale a number of years ago, and so she's collaborated with these northern artists to speak across languages, across cultures through art. She calls it bridge art, bridging through communicating through art, and that's part of this question: how can we speak differently? How can we speak through art? And that's what we try to do in Art Lab as well. We try to bring art as a place where we can communicate without words sometimes.
And sometimes words are the least powerful way to communicate. You know, there's so
Exactly.
many other powerful ways that we can connect and build bridges to each other. Love it. Jesse, I know you've got a book there called something about Black Diamond Dust.
Yes, Black Diamond
Let's
Dust is.
Dust that one off. And tell
Yes,
us
so
about
this
it.
is the first major publication that the Nanaimo Art Gallery has produced. We launched it last year. It's an expansion from an exhibition we did in 2014, which was actually the first exhibition I curated in the Nanaimo Art Gallery. And Black Diamond Dust is the first in a trilogy of exhibitions we did that responded to the resource industries that Nanaimo was built on. So, of course, Black Diamond Dust responds to coal mining. I grew up on Jingle Pot Road, you know, above a mine probably.
Yeah.
There was a house in the Miners Park subdivision near me where they were building it, and an air shaft was discovered. So I have like a kind of as a kid, I was like always like, wow, what's going on in that mine? What's going on in this history of Nanaimo? I don't really know much about it. And when I became an adult, I started thinking about like, why don't I know more about this history, this really important part of the place where I come from? And so I wanted to explore that through this exhibition, which not only includes local artists who respond to coal mining, who've done new work, but national and international artists. We brought artists in to do a residency in the miners' cabin next to Buttertubs Marsh, and they made new works for the show there. And the show was, this is before we amalgamated the gallery downtown, so the show was both at our former VIU location and at the downtown location, and there was a billboard, there was a collaboration with the Nanaimo Museum, so it happened all over Nanaimo. We even did tours of the Morden mine, and so in order to be able to experience it all at once, we've compiled it into this book. And this book is co-published by Nanaimo Art Gallery and Sternberg Press in Berlin, which means it's distributed internationally. So people have been discovering Nanaimo, you know, in all parts of the world. I've been getting emails from LA and from different places saying, oh, I found your book, it's really interesting. So it's nice to be able to share what we're doing in Nanaimo more broadly.
Congratulations, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we're working on the next one. It's called The Mill, to do with the forest industry, and hopefully that will come out next year.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you're making international connections with this. Look how coal can bring people together.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knew?
Yeah. Well, we were connected internationally when we were digging coal, because we were sharing it around the world, and now we're sharing art around the world too.
Very good connection.
Yeah.
You were born to do this, born above a mine shaft.
Maybe, I think so, yeah.
Thank you, Jesse. And Yvonne, let's talk a little bit about the gallery store in the and the E.J. Hughes prints that are available there, I think, as well.
Those prints are available there, alongside a number of other works, eclectic work from a number of artists and artisans locally and regionally. So it's a wonderful gallery store where people can come in and get a good look at some really high quality, I think, work from our local artists.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's excellent.
I noticed you're sporting some amazing rings
Oh,
there. Are any
thank
of
you.
those from local artisans?
Actually,
From the gallery store?
Actually, this one might be.
Yeah.
A little bit laden with silver today.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Huh. And those, the E.J. Hughes prints, just want to let people know that they are limited edition prints.
Yes.
And they make wonderful graduation gifts or retirement gifts or
Yes.
birthday gifts,
Yeah.
anniversary gifts. He was such a gifted artist, and I think he lived into his mid-90s
90s,
or
yeah.
so, right
Yeah.
here on the island.
Yeah, and there's still that mural just down the road at the museum that was refurbished too. That was his.
Yeah,
that
that
was
was-
recovered. Yeah.
If people haven't seen that inside the Vancouver Conference Center, that E.J. Hughes mural about, is it Captain Malaspina mapping
I
some
believe so.
area?
Yeah.
But it's huge.
Yeah. It's really big.
And it was found on the Malaspina Hotel when they were demolishing
Yeah,
that.
when they were demolishing it some years back.
Yeah, and went to great care to preserve that.
To rescue it.
Rescue it, yeah,
Yeah.
because it would have been lost. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
love
exciting.
it. Volunteer opportunities at the museum, if people wanted to get involved
Or
in
at
that
the gallery,
capacity.
yes.
Yeah.
There are. We welcome volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers to help us do our work. The gallery especially, when just in terms of the exhibitions and showing people around. There's docent opportunities. In Art Lab, of course, I'm always looking for volunteers as well to help out with the workshops that I do with children, teens, and adults. So there's a lot of opportunities for volunteers, and we have a volunteer form they can fill out and contact me and set up an interview and go from there. So anyone interested in that loves art and loves to work with children, I'd love to talk to them.
Or even wants to explore art. They may not have discovered their inner artist
That's
yet.
right.
I think
Yeah.
every one of us has some art inside. It's just a matter of
think so.
finding,
Yeah.
what it is. We each
Yeah.
have those different gifts. Yeah. And as curator, Jesse, what's on your wish list? If you could wave a wand, what would be one exhibition you'd bring to Nanaimo that would just blow everybody's mind?
Oh gosh.
Big question.
I haven't thought of it yet.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's brewing.
Yeah.
As curator, do you get to go to some of these fantastic museums around the world or galleries to see what they're doing?
Yes, I'm very lucky in that regard. This last summer, I was able to travel to Europe to go and see Documenta 14, which is one of the biggest art exhibitions in the world. It happens every 5 years. So this year it happened in both Athens and Germany, in Berlin, or in Kassel, Germany. So I was able to fly to Athens and see part of it, and then go up to Berlin and experience the other part of it, and in Kassel, and also see the Münster Sculpture Exhibition, which happens every 10 years. So that was a wonderful trip, and I also got to connect with a lot of artists along the way. So, but I also really value going to local art galleries and museums, you know, going to the Comox Valley Art Gallery, going to the AGGV or the Vancouver Art Gallery, and doing studio visits around Nanaimo in the region. That's my favorite part of my job, is meeting with artists and talking to them about their practices. I get to see the behind the scenes stuff all the time, so I'm really lucky.
You are lucky.
Yeah.
You are lucky, Jesse. You've got the best job. Yeah, and it shows with your great big smile. Yvonne, anything else that you want to mention about Art Labs that we haven't already talked about today?
Well, I just really want to encourage people to come, contact us, call, look at our website. There's an opportunity for everybody, kids, teens, and adults. And you know, we are a smaller organization, so we're kind of we're able to be flexible and nimble, and sometimes new programming pops up because you know, we've generated some new ideas. So always stay in touch with us, and just consider becoming a member. I think it's a lovely and great organization to be a part of, and I'm thrilled to be a part of it myself.
Well, it's been a pleasure to have you both here this evening to talk to us about the gallery, and good luck with the upcoming exhibits. I really want to come and check out some of those, especially the plants and the earthlings and all that.
Yes, come to our next opening.
I think I will. I'm going to roll up my sleeves and get into your art lab first.
Excellent. I hope.
There we go. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for joining us today on Coast Connections. We look forward to connecting with you again next time.